Welcome to another episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. I am your host, Randolph Love III. And as always, we have a special guest, an entrepreneur that's going to do what we say that they do. A little bit about our guest. Skip Wilson is the founder and CEO of Draft Media Partners, an advertising execution company that helps over 100 clients across 4 locations streamline marketing operations to get real results. Skip's journey began at 16 as a copywriter, chasing a crush and landing a creative career. He evolved into a web developer, worked with CNN's iReport, and later helped build Clear Channel's digital division before serving as VP of digital media at iHeartMedia for over a decade. Skip is also a best-selling author and host of the Advertising Podcast. Under his leadership, Draft Media Partners was awarded Most Intuitive Software Developer in 2023 and Best Marketing Software Developer in 2024 at the Innovation in Business MarTech Awards. Despite 20 plus years in the industry, Skip never planned on a marketing career. He simply kept solving problems until marketing found him. He brings an empathetic, people-first approach to advertising, and he believes that understanding the human objective behind every campaign is the real secret to success. Please, Skip, who are you and what do you do?
Man, that was pretty solid. That was pretty spot on. I would say that I'm someone who has bumbled and stumbled my way along through what has been what has turned out to be a good life.
You fell for it, sounds like.
Yeah, right.
And it's funny how it is, most people, when we are raised going through the traditional school system, we're taught to avoid failure at any and every cost. However, successful entrepreneurs know that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of the steps.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was in a lot of ways. I mean, I went to school to be a journalist. That was what I wanted to do, was to be a writer. And looking back now, I can say, well, I was never very good at that. And so I don't know why I even wanted to do that. But at the time I was like, that's marketing was just sort of I've got this little web design company and it's doing okay, but that's not my real thing. I really want to do this. Right. Or, yes, sure, I'll go work for this company for a little while, but that's not my real thing. I really want to do this. And that's how I made my way through basically my whole career until finally realizing, wait, actually, I'm good at this thing. Why don't I just do this thing at the marketing and advertising world?
This is my real thing. I'm going to do this until it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Once you get on your into your second decade of doing something, it's like, eventually you just got to sort of be like, okay, actually, I guess this is my thing. Right. But
absolutely. And I can relate to you with that. Is there nothing that now after so many decades, multiple decades in marketing, that you wish you knew in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that everything with me with timing worked out well. I mean, I was just starting as a freelancer right as WordPress was becoming a thing. And so that was just purely fortunate timing was the main reason for my success there. And then I was just leaving college right as companies were starting to build their own, Time Warner was building their user-generated content platform. And then that's how I got with Time Warner and then iHeart. So it was I would say that I've been very fortunate timing wise. That makes it look like I had this grand master plan the whole time, but it wasn't my plan anyway. There may have been one, but it wasn't my plan. And it was looking back. I think I do wish that I'd sort of enjoyed where I was at more. I was always focused on getting to that next thing, right? And so that's. But career wise, I mean, as far as business wise, my biggest changes would be there were definitely when I was starting off. When I was just starting in my leadership roles and management roles, I was very nervous about the fact that I was 21, 22-year-old department head. And I was a jerk, to put it bluntly. I spent like 2 years being a jerk manager, and those 2 years are the only time that I would look at professionally that I look at myself and I'm like, nah, I regret those 2 years, but it worked out okay. But I would have hated to work with me, and anyway, that was a short-lived little stint. I spent 2 years being a jerk before I fixed it, I think.
Man, listen to what you say, Skip. I would say you're almost on your last reincarnation, man. I would say the next go around, you're probably going to ascend to a higher dimension, because it's what you're saying is you seem very self-aware. And it seems like, even though, because I've dealt with different people on different levels, different social economical levels. And if people say that jerks don't get progress, you're wrong. Jerks do get progress. However, they don't get as much progress as the people working under collaboration. It might seem in comparison that the jerk succeeds, but really the collaborator, the one who brings in takes in all the data and then uses that data to express themselves through, not just internally, but externally, those are the ones who win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's all about, I'm definitely a believer that people can change, because I am one and I have changed. And, I think that, but it does take being self-aware. It does take a willingness to be, willing to say, I'm not right all the time. And, that's something that if you're wrong as often as I am, I have the fortune of proving myself wrong enough every day to remind myself that I'm not right all the time.
Mm-hmm. And I think that self-awareness, top down, is something that separates a great company from a good enough company. Is there nothing else that you would say that separates a great company from a good enough company?
It's true of ad campaigns too. I think it's true of companies. I think it's true of people, and it's true of ad campaigns. The difference between good and great ones is the willingness to look at the data, look at the reality, and then make changes accordingly. And as long as you're always doing that, no one ever makes if you're a company, if you're as an entrepreneur, you're constantly making guesses, you're constantly making decisions. You're not going to get the right ones all the time. That's impossible, right? So the second best thing is to always be right the second time around. And that, I think, is more possible. That, I think, is more realistic. So always knowing where you're going, knowing what you want to build and what you want to do, and then constantly being willing to check your progress against what that thing is. As long as you do those two things, I think you can succeed at anything.
And you picked up where I was heading, because regardless of what your company is, it really depends on the narrative of the campaign that you portray. So are you connecting those two things? Like, when you run a campaign for someone, is it, all right, we need to enter this knowing that we could be completely wrong, and willing to make a 180?
We actually now formally put that into we break everything down into like a sprint system. So like we call it sprint 2 is the first 2 weeks of a campaign. We actually go into every campaign assuming that there is going to be some missed marks in there. And most agencies do that. I mean, most agencies do. Any advertiser that talks about A/B testing and those types of things, that's what they're doing. The reason they're A/B testing is because they're saying, we don't know what the answer is, so we're going to see which of these is. What most companies don't do is formalize that to the point of being willing to say, we don't know we absolutely don't know what the answer is, but we know where we're trying to get. We know what the average click-through rate and the average response rate is. And as long as you know those things, when you're falling below average in an area, and then it becomes very easy to fix it. It's like fixing like a car engine or something like that. It's like, okay, I know the gas is getting from here to here, but it's not getting from here to there. And so it becomes very easy to fix things when you know where they should be.
And not only does it become very easy to fix things, but if you're checking it in a synchromatic fashion, like you're saying, it's the difference. Like, let's say you go to cut on your car and your car doesn't cut on. instead of just replacing your entire engine, you might check the battery first, or you might check the spark plugs, or you might check the alternator, or you might check the fuel pump. It sounds like what you're saying is when you do it the right way, not only is it more effective, but probably more cost beneficial as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always easier to, unless you just completely miss the mark, it's almost always easier to fix a current campaign than it is to start fresh. And that's true of employees. That's true of ad campaigns. It's true of almost everything in life, right? It's almost always easier to fix what you've currently got going on than it is to start fresh.
And you mentioned something, A/B testing. For the people who don't know what that is, what is an A/B test, and why is that beneficial?
So A/B testing just means running multiple, usually creatives. Usually when people are saying it, they're talking about different types of ads. So it can be different images. So having 2 or 3 different images, if you're a roofer and you don't know whether this picture of the roof is going to work or whether the picture of the roof from the street level is going to work, then you do a campaign, put both those images in there, and then that would be A/B testing. But you can A/B test everything. You can A/B test the landing pages that you're sending people to. You can A/B test the images. You can A/B test the words. You can A/B test the audiences. Is it better to target homeowners, or is it better to target, homeowners of homes in specific age ranges? Homes 10 years and older, or something like that. So you should be testing each piece of it. But by doing that, it does take the willingness to be able to say, we don't know what the answer is, so we're going to find out what the answer is.
Oh yeah. The more you know, the more you know, the more you don't know. And
exactly.
And depending on who you talking to, the data can be twisted different ways. And even with the A/B testing, something as simple as having just that house, just the front elevation, an image, or just that same front elevation, but with 2 homeowners in the front. Like it could, it's drastically different. And sometimes you don't even know why one gets more response than the other. But if you didn't A/B test it, you would have never known.
And there was a time where I was like, well, let's find out what the answer is. Is it better to have people in the ads or not have people in the ads? Or is it better to do this or that? And what I found is that it really is different based off of, like, almost every company is different. That's why you do almost have to treat each campaign on its own, because different zip codes are different. I mean, there's so many different factors that it's just cheaper, rather than trying to guess and get it right the first time. Cheaper to run 2 types of ads and see which one's getting better response.
Absolutely.
It's not like you have to do that for years. You just do that for a couple months, right? And then you make the change.
Exactly. To get the data. And
exactly,
for somebody like you that's been doing this for multiple decades, it's very simple, but simple is subjective. What can somebody do? Like if they were trying to implement these changes that you and your team would suggest into their operating system, but they want to reduce the complexity, is there nothing that they can do to help mitigate that?
Yeah, absolutely. An advertising campaign is nothing more than a specific way to get a particular message to a particular audience, to get them to do something specific. So to simplify things, I actually get 3 not index cards, but those little yellow sticky notes. Get 3 of those, write one of them message, write one of them audience, and then write one of them action, and then fill that out. And boom, you just got what you would pay an ad agency $50,000-$60,000 to do the planning for. You've just done it. It's like, who do I want to talk to? What am I trying to get them to do? And then what do I need to say to them to get them to do that thing? If you answer that, then it really doesn't matter. Usually with entrepreneurs, with especially smaller businesses, I'm asked questions like, is Facebook a good idea? Is Meta a good idea for me? Or is AdWords a good idea for me? And the answer is always, it depends on who your audience is, what you're trying to say, and what you're trying to get them to do. Because if you're a roofer, then, and you're going after homeowners to try to get them to get a roofing quote, Google's a great way to do that. But the reality is you could do that on any platform. You could also do it on Meta. It doesn't, Google's going to be, I think, more efficient but when you talk about things like efficiency, you're talking about a 1 or 2% difference in campaign performance. The reality is you can make almost any platform work as long as you make sure that you're saying the right thing to the right people.
And that's true. Like you got to find your audience, and seems like what I'm gathering from you, once you know your audience, you must know how to engage with them. Using your roofer analogy, going along with that, the person trying to sell a roof doesn't need a roof right now, so they're not necessarily their target demographic.
Yeah.
How does somebody, whether they are the company or the marketing professional working with the company, how do they gather this empathy of understanding what the other person is going through? Not only how do they attain this empathy, but why is that empathy not more important than their tech stack, what they're seeing in this data?
So there's many ways to do it, and you can send surveys out to your customer list. You can do those types of things. We live in a world where like you can ask ChatGPT and those types of things, and those are helpful tools. You can be like, hey, what are people saying in this field? But one of my favorite ways, the one that I don't think we use often enough as entrepreneurs, is angry customers. When you get an angry customer, that is a gold mine, in my opinion, because that is somebody who's going to tell you everything that's wrong about your messaging, everything that is different, what they wish you had done differently. That's that's invaluable information. So when you get that cranky, willing to complain about anything person on the phone, ask them, hey, what do you not like about the roofing process in general? Tell me like what went wrong, not only with us, but what went wrong when you were looking. An angry, cranky old person that's willing to hang on the phone for 20 minutes, that's worth gold.
Does the business owner leverage? All right, so let's keep going with this analogy.
Yeah.
I just put a roof on your house. Maybe the crew didn't clean up the nails and the debris as well as we would have wanted them to. And once you notice that debris in your bushes as a homeowner, it triggered you to start looking for other things that are wrong. So does the business owner first fix the problem, then ask, or do they ask while the customer is in their heat, just to get the closest accurate credible data?
I would, you do have to sort of appease them a little bit. So it's like, oh, hey, I hear what you're saying. That's awful. We're going to fix that. Do you mind if I ask you about these other things? And then boom, you can ask them anything, because I would do it kind of in the moment. Also, there's people that will complain and there's people that won't complain. When they are self-identifying as the kind of person that will complain, boom, that's somebody that you want to ask a survey for right then and there. You want to be like, all right, and what else did you not like? Well, because then that's when they're going to tell you, and you know what, I didn't want to do business with you guys anyway because of this, this, and this, and all of this is going, so you want to get all of that out. And then they'll start telling about the competitors. They'll start saying, well, you were the third guy we got a quote from, and we didn't like them either because of this, this, and this.
Oh, what did you not like about them? Okay, got it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And then just keep it going.
Exactly.
I'm not. Do you hear me, Skip? Am I going in or out?
You clicked it, messed up a little bit, but you were good. I think I heard the whole thing. I think I heard you most of the time.
All right. Perfect. So let's say, all right, you are the best marketing partner in the world. Any company, any industry would love to work with you. Mm-hmm. And you do what you said you were going to do. You bring a lot of eyeballs to them, and so much business comes in. How important is the operations of the company to what you're doing as a marketing partner?
So one of the things that I would say get not in trouble for is the wrong word, but one of the things that my business partner and my team call me out on all the time is getting too far into the operations of a business, because to me, it is all one. It's all one, it's two sides of the same coin. Yeah. Because we have, if the leads aren't converting into business, or if it's not paying for itself in the long run, whether we're getting the cancellation because the ad campaign failed, or whether we're getting a cancellation because the business failed, both are cancellations, right? And so it's incredibly important. And you'd be surprised how often. Now, some of our clients are like government grants and those types of things, and for those, that's money that's just gone, right? They don't care about ROI. But for the vast majority of our clients, you'd be surprised how many campaigns we do where we're like, okay, hey, you got 100 leads last month. Tell me what happened with those, and we get a response to the effect of, well, we haven't called them. We haven't done anything with them, those types of things. I mean, it happens a decent amount, and it's frustrating, because then it's like, well, what can we do to help you out with that? And so, that's part of why you'd mentioned the CRM you use at the start of the call before we recorded. That's part of why we play around with each of those, is so that we can help address that. Because it's like, okay, well, if you're getting a bunch of leads and you're not responding to them, let me show you this and this tool that has nothing to do with us, but will at least help you make sure that you automate the responses to the people that are filling stuff out. Because there are so many great tools out there that make those, because I get it. If you are a 1 or 2 person business, it's hard to follow up on, leads, or those types of things. And so, but we do live in a day and age where you can automate 99% of that follow up. So make sure you're doing that.
Oh yeah. One of the things that separates humans from most animals, other than opposing thumbs, is our ability to use tools. And even to this day, scientists, when testing the intelligence of an animal against another animal, they see which one will use the tool first. And it seems like you have they say prophecy is often confused with wisdom, right? If you're a very wise person, people will swear that you can see the future. Like, nah, I just know that if I don't take the time to help you with your operations, eventually you're not going to be able to afford my services anymore for marketing. So I'm going to proactively save both of us.
Yeah, right. Exactly. This is either going to end this month or it's going to keep on going this month. No point in doing it 3 more months, right? But
okay, so based off the conversations that you and I had, like I wasn't joking. I truly believe that people are on a path. And when you meet people at different stages in their development, regardless of what you believe, some people have abundance mindsets. Some people have scarcity mindsets. And depending on whether it's abundance or scarce, there's usually other traits that go with that abundance. Most people that have an abundance mindset typically have a live and let live type of way of doing things, right?
Right.
So let's say you're a marketing person, you have an abundance mindset, you've listened to this podcast, you got some tips from Skip. How do you keep from being overwhelmed with the execution of all of these things? Because the referrals are going to come slamming in once you treat one company good, second company good. Oh, not only do they help us with marketing, but they also give us viable advice on operations. Of course, I'm going to refer them to different people. How does a person keep from becoming overwhelmed in this scenario?
Well, I mean, it's all about leverage, right? You can either leverage capital, which is when you hire somebody with that. So that's one way to do it, is to be like, you know what, I'm going to hire an advertising expert. That's the right one. No, I'm just kidding. But the other option. Yeah, right. Exactly. And the other option would be, well, then you're going to leverage like your own labor, which is when you start learning stuff. There is a ton of great resources on advertising and marketing. I will say though, if you are going to go down the self-education rabbit hole in terms of like watching YouTube and those types of things, I think that's fine for the entry points for advertising, which is mostly Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. For those platforms, for the social media platforms and for the search platforms, I do think those are fine. Those are great places to test. If you start getting much beyond that, I would actually recommend hiring someone else. But the easiest way to keep from getting overwhelmed is to remember what you're doing. All you're doing is thinking of a fancy way to get some message to some audience to get them to do something specific. So as long as you have a very clear, here's the thing I'm trying to get them to do, here's who I want to take that action, and then here's what I would say to them, then I think it becomes a lot less overwhelming. It's actually usually fairly simple. And setting up an ad campaign in Google right now it's never been easier. Now, yes, there's a big difference between somebody who's been doing it for 20 years would set up an ad campaign and somebody who's just starting out. But that said, just starting out is a million times better than it was even 3 or 4 years ago in terms of the ad space. Because it's, now you can in an afternoon have a pretty decent ad campaign set up. So just don't forget who you're talking to and what you're trying to get them to do. As long as you get those two things hammered in, the rest of it's pretty simple.
And now I know that what you're sharing is groundbreaking, but it's like one of those things of, for example, if you give a baby a set of keys, keys to a car, no matter how smart this baby is, it cannot drive that car. You can have the most intelligent baby in the world, but his or her feet cannot reach the pedal. Right. And yes, you are a 20+ year professional. And yes, these people have tools available to them, like a set of keys, but some of them feet might not be able to push the pedal. What makes your company so successful? Like, what separates in your mind? What's something that separates, whether it's somebody just starting out or they've been doing it just as long as you? What differentiates you from the other people who do what y'all do?
Well, what makes my company, I'd say, different is that we are Draft originally. Draft stands for Dynamic Response Advertising Forecast Technology. Basically, we built the ability to forecast ad results based off of what your ad spend is, or what your ad spend should be, and what your lead goal is, sales goals, et cetera. And then it'll actually come back with the media mix and all those things. So, I mean, a big part of what makes us as a company different is our tech stack, and as well as we're a fairly small team. We're a very experienced team, though. So we're only about 10 people strong, but we're able to also, most of our clients we don't work with directly. Most of them are through the back end of other ad agencies. And so that allows us to be kind of hyper focused on the paid ad space. But so we're able to predict ad results better and really put together and give you a very objective, like, here's what your ad campaign should be doing. We call it building ad systems as opposed to ad campaigns, like building a reliable, repeatable lead generation system, usually, or e-commerce sales system, depending on what the business's goal is. If you're doing it as that's what makes the company different. As far as doing it yourself, keeping the fundamentals in check, and then I would stick to Google and Meta. That would be my tip. Stick to those two platforms, and take a piece of paper, try to figure out what would I need to say to somebody to get them to do this thing. That's going to get you further than most businesses that are doing the ads themselves. Just that little tip alone.
That's interesting. So what would you say is the reason? Because are you treating Google and Meta almost like a blue chip stock? Like, so for example, what I mean by that is, as an investor, you can invest in a very, unknown stocks, and it could skyrocket for you. Right. But statistically speaking, if it's a very unknown and it's brand new, no references, it may plummet. Whereas you can put money into a blue chip stock, like like one of the well-known, like the Walmarts and stuff like that.
Right.
And the money is almost guaranteed to grow, but it's not going to grow as
you're getting 2 or 3%. Right.
So are you treating Meta and Google as if they're a blue chip platform for marketing? Whereas, all right, you can go other places and you might skyrocket with like a new app, but Meta and Google are the proven standard. Yeah,
I think that's a perfect analogy for sure. They're very hard platforms to mess up. Like it's hard to do wrong. Especially Google, especially search, especially Google, very hard to do a bad job of. But you're likely going to get a 2 to 3x return, which 2 to 3x ROAS, which comparing it to stocks sounds great, but when you keep in mind that we're talking about top line revenue, not net revenue. But so you're likely going to get a 2 to 3x ROAS. You're not likely going to get a 10 or 15x ROAS off of putting $500 into Google. So I think that's a perfect analogy. Whereas if we take a $10,000 or $15,000 campaign, we take it and we put that across like Hulu and OTT and those types of things, and then back it up with like a direct mail campaign. And then, when we get to where we're 5 or 6 platforms deep, you very much can have a 10x ROAS. I mean, that's very, very realistic, depending on your business. Going to the operational side there for a second, but I mean, I think that's the perfect analogy. The reason I would start with those, if you're doing your own, they're hard to mess up, but they're also not going to, they are better for generating just more consistent returns.
Absolutely. And when you're not, because I mean, you're very successful in your corporate career, as well as building a great reputation in this space. When you're not changing the world, the marketing world, like what do you do for vacation? What do you do for fun?
Yeah, so I have 3 kids, a wife and 3 kids. And so usually I'm usually with them at some point. They all have they're at the age where they all have their own various like sports and hobbies and those things. So driving them around a lot, I would say, is a big part of my life right now, and taking them to their various activities and then going vacations, those types of things.
Oh yeah, family man. I know you mentioned recently you attended a theme park. Are you a stress pass type of guy or what? Do you stand in line? What do you like?
Very much the express pass, especially since taking a vacation as an entrepreneur means something very different than it does as any other type. When I'm taking a vacation, that means I'm taking my family on vacation while I sit in the room and do work for 3 or 4 hours of each day. Right, that's a day off for me. So that is the entrepreneur life. So yes, when I am in the parks, I definitely going in all in on the on all the extras, because I don't like waiting in line. I'm a big park open, park close for Disney in particular. I'm a big park open, park close fan. That's how you avoid the lines for cheap. But,
this man got strategy for everything. So it sounds like you're saying if you're going to the park, are you saying when you say park open, park closed, that means because I haven't been to a theme park in a while. Are you saying get there early as possible or get there late as possible?
Exactly. Either one of those, or in our case, we're usually doing both. We're there, 11 a.m. and earlier, and then we dip for the middle part of the day. That's when you rest and recoup or do other stuff. Then you get back about 6 or 7 and stay there till close. That's the way to do it. You avoid the heat of the day, the crowd of the day, and the lines.
Oh man, you too good, man. Please send your invoice to me for giving me that. I'm going to check that out. And last question for you, Skip. If you were to envision yourself standing on top of a mountain with a hero's pose, as in, I did it. This is what I set out to do. I did it. What does that look like?
Until that means that I would for me to do that, I would have to solve all the world's problems and you have the perfect business or multiple businesses, really focus on just one, but at least one successful company, solve all of our political issues, and then solve all of humanity's issues at large. Until that happens, I'm not striking that pose yet. I'm gonna keep climbing that mountain.
I like what you just, our minds, because what you just said, it sounds like because if I'm imagining someone climbing a mountain, and putting one foot ahead, grabbing one piece and stretching out the other, it seems like if there was a room full of people that said, draw yourself in a hero's pose, if there was a room full of people that said, draw yourself, do you hear that ringing, Skip?
No.
Okay, great. I'm glad you can hear. All right. It seems like what you're saying, if there was a room full of people and they said, draw yourself in the hero's pose on a mountain, most people will do the classical standing there with the Superman pose, but it sounds like your pose would be that guy stretching to the next rock.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. There would have to be no more rocks left, but it would have to be there would have to be no other thing that needed fixing in this world. I'm not sure I'm gonna live to get there until so I'm just gonna keep climbing, see how many things I can solve while I'm here.
I like that, man. Please, one more time, let people know who you are, and how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Skip Wilson, Draft Advertising. You can reach out to us, info@draftadvertising.com.
Man, that's great, Skip. I think they got a lot from this. The audience, this has been another episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, a place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. I have been your host, Randolph Love III. And until next time, we'll see you then.